Don't get triggered now. We're about to talk about Jonathan Cahn's prophetic parallels between Trump and a biblical character called Jehu.
Donald Trump to America in this is that there's a template of a man called Jehu. Jehu was wild. He was unpredictable. No, we didn't even know where he was at with the Lord, but he was used by God.
I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand that God could use someone that doesn't really act like a Christian most of the time.
And he was used by God when the nation was falling away from God. He was used like a trump card, basically, and he just kind of disrupted where it was going, and he actually went against Baal worship. And the thing is, and he went against the house of Ahab. Now he starts this race to the throne on this chariot. The Bible says he drives like a madman. Well, Trump makes his race to the White House, and he does.
Hold up, we're not idolizing Trump. He has nothing on Jesus Christ. But at the same time, we don't want to underestimate that God can use a person.
When Jehu is heading to the throne, he makes an alliance with the religious conservatives of the land. Actually makes a partnership with one of them. They ride on the chariot together. Trump makes his alliance with the religious conservatives. Without that, he would not have been president.
Pause, wait a minute. As I Googled Biden being prayed for at the White House, nothing came up.
On top of that, Jehu comes to the Capitol with an agenda, which is to drain the swamp. Well, so did Trump. Now, when Jehu comes to the final moment of taking power, he comes face to face with the nation's former first lady, and so whose name is Jezebel. Trump comes face to face with a former first lady whose name is Hillary.
Trump's presidency was rocky, but have you ever stopped to think about what would have happened if Jezebel got in the White House?
Now, interesting, because Jezebel was for Baal worship, which meant she was for the offering up of children.
Yeah.
So Hillary Clinton was the number one champion of abortion. And even though everybody was saying, it was saying in the polls, Hillary Clinton Trump was going to beat him, the paradigm said that the modern day Jehu was going to win. I'll throw this in. Hillary Clinton was on the national stage with her husband for 22 years when he became governor until the end of his presidency. Then she went in public office for 12 more years, and then 2 more years she was running for president, public life. She was on the stage, so 22 years with her husband, 14 years on her own. Jezebel was on the national stage of Israel for 22 years with her husband, with her on her own 14 years. Same exact thing. Now I'm just throwing that in. Now, the thing is, now Trump wins.
Nobody thought that Trump was going to win that election. No one.
Okay, and one of the things is that when Jehu becomes the one who pulls down the house of Baal, or the temple of Baal, where they're killing babies. Interesting thing, Eric, when Trump announced his candidacy, when he began his rise, when Jehu rises, the temple of Baal actually falls. He actually destroyed it. Well, Trump rises in the summer of 2015. That same summer, it turns out there was an ancient temple of Baal that existed for almost 2,000 years. It comes crashing down to the earth right as Trump begins. Now, also what it's saying is, and I don't, this isn't the paradigm, but I didn't realize all this when I wrote it, but it came true after. One thing is that if Jehu was the one who comes against the worship of Baal, which is killing child sacrifice, well, then Trump is going to end up, more than any other president, regardless of what you think of him, ends up being the one, more than anyone, who's actually going to pull down child sacrifice in the form of Roe versus Wade. If it was not for what Trump did in appointing those Supreme Court justices, it would never have been overturned. So even in that, he was used.
2 of the biggest political victories of our day, Roe v. Wade being overturned, and the 3 Supreme Court justices that Trump appointed that were conservative.
Well, on the exact day of the Feast of Trumpets, God touches the Supreme Court. That on that day, the Supreme Court justice, who is Ruth Ginsburg, passes from the earth on the Feast of Trumpets. That is the very act that opens the door for the overturning of Roe versus Wade. It happens on the day, and that day is also given to begin the time of turning away from your evil. That for a nation to turn away from it on that day, the exact time.
Regardless about how you feel about Trump, listen to what he says. You'll never hear Biden saying anything like this.
You still need help from the boss. We need help from the boss. Need help. It's all right to say. Now, they'll criticize me for that. How dare he say that? How dare he say that? No, I'll say it. Somebody said to me the other day, you're the most famous person in the world by far. I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. They said, yes, you are. I said, no. They said, who's more famous? I said, Jesus Christ.